Not Nerd Podcast, episode 345. Everything is tech.
Welcome to the Not Nerd Podcast. I'm Nate Heath, and we are here to help you tech better. Here with me, as always, Mr. Dave Baylor.
Well, hello to you, sir. I am excited for this podcast. I am familiar with some of the news stories. I actually read them.
Nice.
So that's kind of cool. And we've got a fun tip of the week coming up. Something we've covered before, but it's good to remind people.
Yes.
And I don't know what your pick is, but mine is a very practical pick. How's that for some teasing?
Always. Yeah. Listen up for a very practical pick. Now they're not going to be waiting for your game pick. There was a ton of stories this week. I'm actually saving a couple of them that I didn't feel were as important in case we need to fill in later weeks. It feels like usually in the summer, the tech news slows down, but there's just so much tech now.
Yeah, everything is tech.
Everything is tech. And so let's get right into the follow-up. We talked about Google's Chrome OS Flex that I had played around with a little bit. This is their version, Chromebooks that you can install on older computers. It's now officially available, and I realized in our show notes I put not available. I did mean to put now available. So sorry for throwing you off there, Dave. But and I tried this on a very old, probably a 10-year-old MacBook Pro that I had. And I was trying to run it off the USB stick, and it would kind of work. But now this is an official release that they have. And Google has been testing and verifying devices from Acer, Asus, Dell, HP, Lenovo, LG, Toshiba, and many more, as well as some old Macs.
This is interesting. I do have a lot of old Apple equipment laying around here and at work, and it seems appealing to do this, but I also think, well, the old versions of Mac OS aren't that bad. If you can get a browser that is compatible with current websites and stuff. And then Linux comes to mind. Why not put Linux on it? Linux runs pretty far back, but I'm going to try to find a piece of hardware to try this on. I've got an older MacBook Air, but it's running the newest operating system because Apple does such a good job of supporting their products. So I won't put it on there, but I'll find something. I'm going to try it out.
I'm checking random thumb drives on my desk here. I think one of them's got the older version, but I might try it again with this old MacBook Pro I have and just see if it's a little more stable and actually install it on the hard drive. Because much like you were saying, this person, when I replaced their computer for him, I was trying to go to Safari and it wouldn't even let you go to most websites because it was so out of date. And I'm like, how are you using this?
Yeah, there's TinFox 4 and a couple other builds of Firefox and different things that do have modern features for older machines. But that's kind of becoming a dying practice. I'm not sure too many people are supporting that any longer.
Yes, as they probably should not. We did have Prime Day, and I think I might have told you the wrong dates, but it was kind of hard to avoid if you were online anywhere. Mm-hmm. I think it was the 12th and 13th, but from Reuters, U.S. online sales during Amazon's Prime Day jumped to 12 billion with a B. So it's not just Amazon sales, but it looks like it's, or maybe it. That is a
maybe you
poorly
should read
worded
the article
headline.
before you talk about the article.
The way this is worded, it says U.S. online sales during, like the headline says, jumped 8.5% from last year to nearly 12 billion with a B, as inflation hit Americans pounced on discounted essentials and electronics, showed data from Adobe's Digital Economy Index.
Wow, why are we going to Adobe for that? But I digress. But my daughter, to muddy the waters, purchased an Apple Watch when the sales were going on, but she purchased it from Target because they were matching the deal that was on Amazon, and I think Walmart had a similar deal. So they've turned it into a new buying season, just like
I
holiday.
think somebody called it, maybe it was Best Buy, they're like, our summer Black Friday deals. It's a midsummer time for them to sell a bunch of stuff. Amazon said on Thursday the two-day shopping event on July 12th and 13th was its biggest ever globally, with members of its Prime loyalty program purchasing more than 300 million with an M items, or 100,000 with a T products a minute.
Wow.
Yes.
That's a lot of products per minute.
Yes, and I made one purchase, but I need to test it out, and it might be a upcoming pick of the week. So I will not divulge that information yet. But even more exciting. Oh, did you buy anything on Prime Day?
No, I didn't. Well, I don't. It wasn't related to Prime Day, but I bought something around Prime Day. But it might be an upcoming pick of the week. It was an item that was half off, but I don't know. It wasn't on Prime Day. I can tell you that.
I looked through a lot of the Prime deals, and as with always, there wasn't anything I really needed because I am spoiled and have everything that I need. And
the items they feature are I just don't care about usually.
Yes, it's all over the place. But more exciting than Prime Day, we had Microsoft Patch Tuesday this last week.
Oh, really? More exciting, huh?
Yes.
Whoa.
Yeah. So the July 2022 edition, they fixed at least 86 security vulnerabilities in Windows operating systems and other software, including a weakness in all supported versions of Windows that Microsoft warns is actively being exploited.
Every version of Windows?
In all supported versions of Windows. So that would be, at this point, 10, 11, and then this current server versions. So
not Windows 3.1.
Well, if they don't support the older versions, they don't have to disclose it anymore. So if you're on Windows 7, it's probably time to update.
Just a side note, I sent you that cartoon of the Scooby-Doo where Fred's taking the mask off of Windows 11 and it reveals Windows 10.
Windows 10.
Oh, it's so funny.
It is so true because I have started using Windows 11 more in different circumstances, and it's like you go into the control panel, it looks all nice, and then you're like, okay, here's what I need to click on, and it just goes back to the Windows 10 control panel.
Or is it Windows 10 or is it Windows XP control panel?
Well, yes, indeed. Because they had the settings in Windows 10, but you can still get to the Windows 7 and before control panel, so it's just layered on layered on layered of Windows greatness that has 86 vulnerabilities a month that need to be fixed.
Turtles all the way down.
Turtles all the way down. ESPN Plus in streaming news, they're raising their prices by $3 a month. Now this is it can be part of a Disney, Hulu, ESPN bundle, but there's also the standalone version for those that just want the ESPN Plus content.
And I'm not a big sports guy, but I did the bundle early on and quickly found out that the ESPN Plus is not a service for me. It's like highlights and old 1970s football games. I'm like, no, if it's not live stuff, I don't want to see it.
I know.
I'm not a big sports historian.
Yeah. I've noticed on YouTube TV, I'll be flicking through the channel or scrolling through the channels. We don't flick or click through the channels anymore. Yeah, it's like all the sports channels, they'll be like, oh, the 2020 NBA Finals. It's like, that was 2 years ago. I watched them. Why?
Yeah. I tell you, non-live sports is just not that appealing. No. It's like going to a fast food restaurant and all your food is cold. No, yes. I want it hot, baby.
Or regurgitated.
Oh, even worse.
Yes, it's all the food that you already ate. But yeah, so it'll go up from $6.99 to $9.99 per month,
which is a 43% increase. And I did that in my mind by looking at the screen where it said that.
From the article. Good job reading, Dave.
Thank you.
Yes, yeah. So, and I guess last year it went up from $5.99 to $6.99. So. They're really, really trying to, which I think Disney Plus is still doing amazing, but maybe ESPN Plus, maybe they're adding more content, hopefully, that you're paying more for, so I don't know.
I seriously doubt it.
Yes, if anybody is an ESPN Plus consumer, please let us know how that experience is for you. in some Apple news, we talked about it at their WWDC event, but the new M2 chip MacBook Air is now available for order. I think they're back ordered quite a bit, but I saw many reviews, and just about everybody said this is the laptop for most people, unless you really have specific needs.
Yeah, and I, on my birthday, the day it became available to order, purchased one for an employee at work, and I think it's going to be here on the 21st. So today is the 18th, so just a few days. Yeah. It'll be here, and I'll be able to test one out. So next show, I'll talk about it.
Yes, okay. We will wait for that. In things that I didn't think we'd have to cover again, the New York Times releases Wordle board game. So you can now buy a board game of the popular web browser-based game.
Why does this keep happening? Why do people think that consumers want an analog version of a digital thing?
Yeah.
Isn't digital better? I
mean,
mean,
and that's like what I guess if you like hanging out with people, playing board games, but the success of Wordle was that it was, I mean, there's plenty of word games out there, was that you just open up your web browser and you don't want to do your work, so you hop over to Wordle and then you can share it on social media.
And somebody, maybe it was you, was saying it was just like Mastermind or something like that. Like it was it's another game that they just kind of rebranded.
Yeah, so there you go, New York Times.
Good job.
Yes. And in related news, Spotify has bought Heardle, the one that we talked about where you listen to the song and you try to guess it within how many notes or whatever it was, seconds. They said they're going to keep it completely separate, but I look at that as, man, Spotify is going to get some great data out of having Heardle under their umbrella. But yeah, so everybody's doing back to the Wordle and Heardle.
I guess so.
Yes, Wordles and Heardles all the way down.
Yeah, totally. Just like turtles.
Yes. And our lovely state of Oregon, we had kind of alluded to this, and I was guessing that this might happen. The headline from OregonLive.com, home of the Oregonian, Oregon spent $2.4 million with an M on a digital COVID-19 vaccine card few are using.
Just like you said, there are tools out here that exist, and we had to go and spend a bunch of money to make our own that nobody uses.
Yes.
Who could have guessed? Oh, yeah, everybody.
And it was pretty late to the game where this was not as important by the time they finally got it out. But it does said it's only been used about 50,000 times. And we've got 4 million people in the state of Oregon. And it's probably about 3 people that wanted to just show everybody their vaccine card on their phone all the time. So.
Well, just put it in my Apple Wallet. Let me do that. Turn on the notification for COVID whatever that is built into Apple and Google phones. Like, why is our state not doing any of this stuff? It's all you got to do is turn it on. It's free. I don't get it.
Oregon likes to keep things interesting and spend our money.
Here's what it is. Oregon is the poor man's California. They keep trying to do their own thing like California. They forget that California has an economy bigger than 80% of the countries on the planet.
Yes.
Oregon is not California.
No. And but I will remind people, in case you didn't know, our state motto is "She flies with her own wings."
I did not know that.
Yes, we hold on to that and really try to fly with our own wings instead of the airplane that's going to get us there much faster.
We'd rather do it ourselves.
Yes. Well, you know what else we can do ourselves? Dave's Pro Tip of the Week.
Yes, after today's tip, you will be able to manage your data better. So I was helping a friend with a project on her computer, and I was transferring information and looking at how to save space because there's a terabyte drive, but it was like 90% full, etc. And a little sidestep. Every time I edit myself, I hear myself saying, etc., which is redundant.
Yes.
Because it's like saying the same thing twice. So I'm going to try to just say etc. one time. So
Nice.
I was helping her and reminded myself to go to this area to find files on your computer. If you're just like, why am I running out of space on my Mac? I store all my photos in the cloud. I have a backup somewhere else of other things. Why is it taking up so much space? Well, you can simply go to the storage management screen, and it's a little tricky to get there, and there's probably other ways, but probably the easiest way is to click the Apple menu, and it will have a section in there that says about this Mac right at the very top of the menu item. You click that, it opens a window, and on modern operating systems, it'll have some little tabs along the top. Really old operating systems, it's going to be different or it won't be present, but the last few, it's there. Then you click over to storage, and it'll calculate the categories of storage of the different file types, like pictures or sound files or documents, etc. And there is a manage ... there. And if you click manage ... it has a breakdown of all the different file types. I mean, it's a treasure trove. Here's one you don't see every day on your computer. iOS files. Why are there iOS files on my Mac? Well, if you have previously backed up your iPod or your iPhone or your iPad to your computer, it saves those files in a little archive, and you could have years and years of this cruft built up. You may not do it anymore, but 5 years ago you did, and you're still dragging those files around. So that's one idea. Shows you some iCloud Drive and gives you some options. You can quickly see applications that are there. And guess what? In the list, you click on an application, there's a delete button right there on the screen. So you can manage all of this storage right from this panel without having to search all over your computer.
That's
nice. I find this little application very useful.
Yeah. It's very iOS-like in the iPhone storage we go to often, but like I just realized going there on my computer that I have 345 gigabytes with a G of applications on my computer.
Wow, I've got 265, which is a little bit less than you, but you may, like, I have an M1 Mac. I can't brag about it anymore since it's been out for like 2 years now.
Yeah.
One of the benefits of having an M1 Mac is that you can download games and programs that are for your phone and iPad, iOS apps.
Oh, yes.
And so there are a bunch of games I see on here because it shows the kind of apps they are and they're iOS. If I were to sort through those, there are a bunch of games I have installed just to see if it would run that I don't need. And they're like 3 gigabytes each. So if I were to just delete a few of those games that I never play, I could reclaim hundreds of gigabytes of storage.
Yes, no, that's very helpful. And there's even, if on documents, there's like a tab for unsupported apps. I don't know if you mentioned that.
I did not.
It's got the full file browser in there, so it is a real nice, clean way to look through and make some space, which I need to do some management space because I'm nearly full once again on my 2 terabyte with a T hard drive.
I have 14 gigs of music on my computer. I don't need that. I could stream the songs. They don't need to be downloaded to my device. So anyway, each person's going to have different needs.
Yes.
But look through there, and perhaps you too can find some files or applications to delete to free some space on your computer.
Yes, like my 404 gigabytes of music.
Yes.
A DJ's needs. Well, on to our takes of the week. Exciting news from those that believe in space travel. The James Webb Space Telescope has given us some initial images.
We had images from Hubble from decades ago. Hubble's the little engine that could, right? It was flown up there. It had cataracts or astigmatism. It had something wrong with the lens, and they corrected that on subsequent missions. And of course, it costs a lot of money. That was a big mistake. But we got a lot of use out of that telescope, and it's still in use today. And the images were great. They were further and clearer than we'd ever seen before. Well, fast forward a couple decades, we have lots more technology, lots more money and investments. Rocketry has improved dramatically since that time. And now we have some of the same pictures. Hopefully they don't just take all the same pictures. I mean, come on, what's the point of that?
Yes.
But the pictures we're seeing, if you compare them side by side, are much crisper and clearer. It's almost like an original iPhone photo and an iPhone 13 Pro Max photo. Same subject matter, very much improved quality.
Yes. And for those skeptics out there, I did see a meme online that said, "You're not fooling us, NASA." And it was the deep space picture, one of the pictures next to a granite countertop. And they looked identical.
Yeah. That was a funny meme. Or the one that had the James or current NASA photos, and then they had beside it a from 10 feet away, a criminal on a. He's like, why is the camera on the security camera so much poorer than this? Yes. To which I will say, money. Yes, is the difference.
Speaking of which, do you know how much the James Webb Telescope cost?
I think $350.
$350.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure.
10 billion with a B.
Wow. That is a lot of money.
Yes. An interesting fact. So the dimensions, it's about 20 meters by 14 meters.
What is that in freedom units?
Freedom units. So a meter's about a yard. So it'd be about 60 feet by 45 feet.
That's pretty big.
Yeah. So that's pretty good size. But then the bandwidth, because it's got internet connection, which mystifies me.
Yeah.
The upload is 16 kilobits per second, and the S band, so there's two bands, the S band down is 40 kilobits, but the K sub letter A band down is up to 28 megabits per second, so faster than some of your home internet connections.
That's not too bad. Now, keep in mind, it's going to take a little while to get out there and back.
Yes.
But once you get the stream flowing, it's going to be pretty good.
Yes, indeed. An exciting Twitter news, which quickly I will say Twitter is suing Elon, so we're going to have a long drawn-out trial and see what happens. But more exciting, they've got a new feature. They're testing custom timelines, and the first one is about the Bachelorette.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Is this timeline just like Twitter, but just for this topic? Is it like a topical thing? So it's like an instance.
So like tweets and other media.
Yeah. So why the Bachelorette? I mean, this is the TV's equivalent of a cesspool, if you ask me. Just this garbage, but.
Yes. Well, I'm going to guess it comes back to the answer you gave on the telescope: money.
Yeah.
It's all about the money.
I used to think money made the world go round, but it's forgot what it was. I might have to cut this part out.
No, dead air is good. Keeping in the social media and video viewing world, all of that, there was a report that came out. New data shows that kids and teens now spend more time watching TikTok than YouTube.
This has got to have Google shaking in their boots.
Yes.
Because previously, or for a long time, YouTube has been king. And now that TikTok is here, I don't think they're probably appreciating that very much because, correct me if I'm wrong, they don't control any of the ad revenue that happens on TikTok. I'm assuming TikTok has their own ad network. Again, money.
Money.
Oh, I think that's what it was. Advertising makes the world go round.
Oh, yes.
I think that's what it was.
Yes, that is true. So TikTok overtook YouTube for the first time as the younger, which is 4 through 18 demographic, began averaging 82 minutes per day on TikTok versus an average of 75 minutes per day on YouTube.
Wow. Those numbers seem big, but I can spend a couple hours on YouTube pretty easily.
Yeah.
I've resisted TikTok's allure.
Yes.
And I probably will continue to be able to do that. But if they take away my YouTube, or if it fails at some point, I might have to start looking at TikTok to get my funny memes and videos.
Yes.
Although TikTok is primarily like DIY stuff and educational type stuff. I don't know if TikTok really has that in the bag.
There's some good and now I think you can do up to like 10-minute videos, which the shorter you can get me the information, the better. But there is quite a bit. I was just listening to some podcasts and they were talking that they just can't get enough of construction, like, home improvement videos on TikTok. And I do have to correct myself, real-time follow-up. That was from June 2020, those numbers I read, where it was very close. In the years since, TikTok has continued to dominate with younger users. By the end of 2021, kids and teens were watching an average of 91 minutes on TikTok, compared with just 56 minutes per day on YouTube on a global basis.
And out of the corner of my eye, I saw a global crisis instead of on a global basis.
Well, there's that too.
And if you're looking at from the perspective of YouTube, that's probably how you would categorize
how they're
that.
discussing it. Yes. And Apple, we haven't talked about him for a couple of years, but Jony Ive, the famed designer that helped really just kind of create Apple and all of their great designs. Apple has ended their consulting agreement with Jony Ive, its former design leader. So the subheadline says, 3 years after promising to work long into the future with the man behind its candy-colored computers, Apple and Mr. Ive are through.
To be honest, I don't know that too many people are broke up about it.
No.
He had one foot out of the door a long time ago.
Yes.
And his race to thinness was ticking off not only consumers, but people inside of Apple. So.
Yes. It was probably for the best. And I heard that he's like going to consult with Airbnb or something. But he can do whatever he wants, and he's got more money than anybody would ever need, so he could just not do anything and create weird things at home if he wanted, or never design another thing again.
Yeah, he could just live forever off of his money. So, or live for the rest of his life. Not forever,
well, maybe with the kind of money he's got, he might be able to live forever.
He'll freeze his head, and then.
Yes. Well, a security and privacy story of the week. Amazon finally admits giving cops Ring doorbell data without consent. And you had highlighted part of it. Amazon gave police Ring camera footage 11 times in 2022 without a warrant or permission from Ring owners, saying it sometimes makes a good faith determination, in quotes, which you might think, well, if they're doing it in good faith, but there are vastly different opinions on what constitutes good faith. Whatever side, top, bottom, behind, left, right, wherever you're at. And because we are the most nonpartisan tech podcast on the internet, it's not one side. So say you've got some person that is just insane in their good faith. Like, what kind of checks and balances do they have in place for this?
There should never exist on this planet, in any universe, in any time, where your private video data that was gathered by a product that you purchased should ever be shared with anybody without your consent, let alone the police department. What if your camera gave the police evidence that could cause them to charge you with something? Like, what in the world? Thanks a lot, Ring.
Yeah, without you even knowing.
Yeah. So I didn't trust them before because they had this program that they partnered with police. And of course it was all, well, if you check the box, if you say yes to this, et cetera, et cetera. And I said, no, I'm never going to have Ring because I do not trust them. And guess what? I was right.
Yes.
Another segment we should do. Dave was right.
Dave was right. That could fill up a whole episode. Yeah, it says, Ring says it will only respond immediately to urgent law enforcement requests for information in cases involving imminent danger of death or serious physical injury to any person. Its policy is to review any requests for assistance from police, then make a good faith determination whether the request meets the well-known standard grounded in federal law that there is imminent danger of death or serious physical injury to any person, requiring disclosure of information without delay.
Guess what? There is, maybe you can hate me if you want. I don't care if there's imminent danger. I don't care if a bomb's going to go off. I don't care about anything. You do not have the right to do this. This is way beyond the right of the police and this company to use this information.
Yes.
Again,
yes.
in a world that I have any say in, this would never happen or exist.
Yes.
Beyond the pale.
Especially when you're not giving them permission to do so. That's... Come on.
Come on, people.
Well, on to our bonus odd take. This is one that you found, and I definitely need to fire up the printer and print some of these off so I can keep them in a file in my drawer to not take them out. But it's cheatography.com. Over 5,000 free cheat sheets, revision aids, and quick references.
You know, in college or in high school, there were all these cliff notes where,
yes,
or if you are into like using programs on your computer, it's like Photoshop, and it's this little card that you could buy that's like laminated with all the shortcuts and keyboard shortcuts. This is a similar thing, and it covers everything. It's not just software. Let's see, something that might be good for everyone: home and health cheat sheets, ingredient ratios for lotion.
Oh, yes.
Weights and measurements. Now, this is a good one. I asked you earlier, how many in freedom units is 20 meters or whatever?
Yeah.
And it's got conversions. 10 millimeters is 1 centimeter. I mean, if you can't do metric ones, you're in trouble. You just add a 0 or take 1 away. But, I mean, it's 20 fluid ounces is a pint. If you're out drinking, you're going to want to know that.
Yes, indeed. And yeah, so there's all kinds of stuff. There's a new baby cheat sheet. Like if you've got a new baby. And so they've got, and a lot of these are, most of them I think are user submitted. But yeah, so it gives you, this is not necessarily what the cheat sheet for when you have your baby, but all of the things you might need.
Yeah.
Once you have or as you're preparing for a child.
Right. And Space Duck put one on here, coffee, drinks, and machines cheat sheet. And so it defines espresso, cafe latte, mocha, cappuccino, all those terms and everything. Like, what do they mean? And it's just a nice little sheet with the headline and definitions. I mean, simple, but useful.
Yeah. And it would probably be better even than printing. You could just bookmark, like I found one, the Productive Nerds cheat sheet by Kung Fu Drafter. And it is just a group of some different links like camel, camel, camel. Under the finance, security, there's Have I Been Pwned, trivia, IMDb, technology, archive.org. So a bunch of different lists. So yeah, and you can even create your own and submit it there. And then people can give it a rating, and then they can kind of show you the ones that are more helpful than others.
Yeah, so I love this. I haven't really dug in here and got anything that I just live by, but this is going to be one of the places I go to whenever I'm going to try to figure out stuff. Just bookmark it for home improvement items or drinks or whatever I come across. I'm going to build a little folder in my browser that I can quickly reference these.
Very nice. You know what else is very nice? Our picks of the week.
Now, I teased earlier that I'm going to have a very practical pick this week.
Yes.
And it's practical because I had to replace the first battery on my AirTag.
Oh.
And I don't know what it was about that one particular AirTag. It must get more use or whatever.
Yeah.
And so it died way before the rest of them did. And so I'm looking around for a CR 3022 or whatever, CO 30, I think it's 3022.
2032.
2032, whatever they are. It has it right here 20 in my article. When I go to the store, I kept forgetting, and I'm like, well, I don't want to make a trip to the store just to get stupid watch batteries. So I bit the bullet, had some lackey at Amazon pack it in a box for me, had a mail carrier ship it to me, and had a delivery driver bring it to my door, because that was a lot easier than me walking over to Walmart next door and get a box of these. I'm such a terrible person. But I got a 10-pack of CR2032 3-volt lithium coin cell batteries that work perfectly for your AirTags. And since I have 10 of them in a pack, I now have 9 to do with what I wish.
Yes.
Probably replace more AirTag batteries in the future.
Yes. Always a good reminder. The Amazon Basics batteries there. I just purchased 48 pack of AA's. We have the AAA's on subscribe and save. So every couple months we get another pack of those. And for some reason we didn't have the AA's on there and we ran out. But yeah, it's good to have. And these, I meant to, when I first got the AirTags, go on to Amazon and buy some, because I figured after everybody started dying at the same time that there would be a massive run on them. But yeah, nice little deal.
Yeah. And I, as a little extra pick of the week, Kirkland brand AAA and AA at Costco.
Oh, yes.
Great. And I did look there for the batteries, the watch batteries. They did not carry them. So otherwise I would have purchased them from Costco. But there you go. Very useful. And if you're like me, you probably have some AirTags that are about to run out of batteries. So
yes, indeed. I should check my battery levels. Well, my pick of the week this week is kind of multi-pronged. There's a photographer that we're both fans of. We've seen him on other podcasts, Scott Bourne, who's done a lot of nature photography, takes amazing bird pictures, and he's worked for several camera companies. Well, him and another guy, Jefferson Graham, my actual pick is iPhonePhotoTeam.com. And so they've created kind of a community of iPhone photo lovers, which we definitely both are, and many of our listeners are as well. So they have different things. They also have a podcast they've started, iPhone Photo Show, that they're doing, I believe, once a week. And it's usually about 30 minutes long, and sometimes they'll have guests on and different things. But they do some giveaways. They've got reviews. They do a lot of posts on the site of just different tips. So as someone who's always looking to get the most out of my iPhone camera, iPhonePhotoTeam.com to find all of their things.
Very cool. And I can't remember if I have an account with them or not. So I will try. But if I don't, I should make one.
Yeah, so I think they just started the site a couple months ago, I think, and so it's growing pretty quickly. Like, here's a post they did of a poll, what is your favorite things about capturing photos or video on your iPhone? And 161 members have answered. I think they're like somewhere getting close to 1,000 members. But yeah, there's a lot of really talented people on there with some good information, so...
Yeah, it's always best to join communities like this because they attract people who are just at the top of their game, and you can learn so much.
Yeah, they've got a whole section on gear and different stuff. Some of it's stuff we've talked about, some of the apps and, lenses and tripods and all that stuff. But to get a good clean, review and hear what a lot of people that are real, a lot of professional photographers, and they'll discuss on the podcast like, well, do I take my big camera? Like, can I get away with my iPhone? And a lot of times you probably can. Yeah. And a lot of times it takes, one of the things Scott Bourne always talks about is with the iPhone, you can just get it into so many more places that a big camera with a lens on it, and just get it where you need to be. But shooting a bird from 200 feet, shooting a photo of a bird, shooting a bird from 200 feet would be really hard with an iPhone, but shooting a photo of a bird, that's true. That's true, but...
Yeah, real-time follow-up. I did have an account. I'm signed in, thank goodness. And I'm going to sign up for a couple little discussions that I saw on the topics that I was interested in. But thank you for the reminder. This is perfect. And the thing about filming and taking photos with your phone, you totally can get in places that I would never put a camcorder or even a bigger SLR camera. I mentioned that a couple years ago at a church camp, I was doing the videos and stuff. I would stick my phone wherever, in the water slide, jumping around, the monkey bars. I would never do that with a camera. It would get broken, so it's perfect.
Yes, indeed. Well, with that, I think we will wrap up this episode, whatever it is, before I can't talk anymore. Thank you so much for listening. Share it with a friend, ask us questions, all of that good stuff. And now you can get out there and tech better.
I'm playing around with putting my dock on the left side of the screen again. I don't know. Isn't that where you put it?
Mine's on the right.
Oh, come on, you animal.
Guess you're left-handed, I'm right-handed, so it makes sense.